Welcome to Instruction Discussion, our weekly look at the latest topics and trends in education affecting schools here on Long Island and schools around the world. Whether you're a teacher, parent, or student, listen for tips and strategies to help you navigate the educational landscape. There's a bell. It's time to start today's Instruction Discussion on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, I'm Kevin Boston Hill, and welcome to Instruction Discussion, where each week we will examine a recent trend or development in education and its impact on Long Island. In our current educational climate of remote and virtual learning, many families have lost faith not only in the quality of education their children are receiving, but also in whether their children will be taught important values like empathy and humanity. As parents begin shifting to home instruction, one organization is helping with this issue. Through its Humane Education Division, PETA has introduced its Teachkind program to provide families with resources they can use at home. Today, we welcome the program manager of Teachkind, Lisbet Chiriboga. Ms. Chiriboga, welcome to Instruction Discussion on 90.3 WHPC.
Well, hello, Kevin. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure, because I know, again, this is a topic that we don't hear too much about as far as the character development and empathy training and citizenship and so forth. We focus a lot on the educational side of children, but not so much on the social emotional side that has really been impacted by the pandemic and being able and teaching from home and so forth. So I'm glad that you were able to come on to discuss this, and especially the unique way that we want to approach the social emotional learning topic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me on your show. And again, this is, like you said, it's a very important topic. Teachkind is the Humane Education Division at PETA. We are former classroom teachers, and we work with schools, teachers, homeschoolers, and parents around the country to help them incorporate compassion for animals into student learning. And we offer free lessons and materials for grades kindergarten to 12th grade that simultaneously promote empathy for all beings and help kids develop academic skills.
So let me ask you this, and we'll get back into the benefits of Teachkind and what it's all about in a moment. But let me ask you, how did you wind up at PETA and heading up this important charge and program?
Well, so my background is I was a classroom teacher in New York City in the Bronx for 12 years, and I've always incorporated compassion for animals into my own curriculum, my own classroom with my own students and my schools, because I would do school-wide programs as well. I'm also still on the executive board of UFT, which has a Humane Education Committee, a professional committee. So I did teacher trainings in humane education for the other city teachers. And I'm, like I said, on that exec board. And this opportunity to work at PETA and head up the Teachkind program just came, this opportunity fell in my lap a few years ago. So I've been here for almost 4 years. And my belief and my experience has always been that you can simultaneously foster empathy in children while having them work on academic skills as well. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. So we know, and I know that teachers don't have extra time in the day to teach other things that are not part of the curriculum. So that's why we create materials that are teacher-friendly and now parent-friendly as well, so that these lessons align with Common Core standards. So you have all the academics, but you can also bring in animal issues, which are so engaging for children because we know that kids love animals. So we can harness that interest to engage students. And we know there's a lot of issues right now with engaging kids because they're learning virtually. So even in the virtual learning environment, we can engage kids with lessons in humane education.
So let me ask you, since the lesson plans and the resources are teacher friendly, is it really like a plug and play program, or is it something that the teachers can look at? Is it scripted, or is it something that they have to actually add additional things to?
Well, the beautiful thing about our resources is they're both. We have, like for example, we have an empathy building program called Share the World for grades kindergarten to 5th grade, which is a step-by-step guide on how to teach kindness to animals. It includes a video with inspiring animal footage, reading and writing activities, and the program shows children that the golden rule of treating others the way you wish to be treated applies to all living beings and not just humans. So many teachers, and I used this program actually when I was still in the classroom, but it's so easy to use it as a springboard. And that's what we would like all our lessons to be. I mean, we have lots of lessons on our website at teachkind.org, but teachers can look at their own curriculum through a humane lens and see so many opportunities to include humane education and compassion for animals into their own curriculum. And we offer guidance in that. I've been doing that for many years, so we encourage teachers to reach out to us if they need assistance in that. And we also do teacher training.
And is the program available for just through the schools, or can people access it any kind of? Can families have access to these resources as well, or do they have to go through the schools?
Oh, absolutely. Anyone who wants to access free humane education materials can visit teachkind.org. There you'll even find a guide for getting started using our materials, whether you're a traditional educator or a parent. We have an online lesson database that you can search according to grade level, and we have lots of features on our homepage right now to get the school year going with compassion. We have added lots of distance learning resources and tips for new homeschoolers as well. Mm-hmm.
We know that over the years and the last few years and so forth, that PETA itself as an organization has had some, controversial stances and practices and things of that nature, and as far as its impression or perception in the public eye. So is there any other type of connection, or does through Teachkind, is it trying to get people to kind of endorse what PETA is doing? Is it trying? So what's the connection between Teachkind and PETA?
Well, so on the PETA website, you'll find lots of information for adults about our campaigns to help animals. And you'll find undercover investigations, so adults can see for themselves the cruelty behind the industries that exploit animals. Now, when you visit teachkind.org, you'll see different type of content, because our resources are specifically tailored for educators to teach students in grades K to 12. We create educationally sound materials that educators can see for themselves, which is why we receive a lot of compliments from them about our resources, and we have a whole network of teachers that use our materials and also contribute lessons themselves that we put on the website. We've even partnered with Discovery Education, and they now include Teachkind materials as part of the streaming service they offer to schools.
In other words, the two entities are really kind of separate, even though it's like PETA has developed this program as an educational arm of their organization. It's really kept kind of separate so that you're not forced into seeing all the other things that PETA has on their website. So the teachkind.org is its own entity, then separate and apart from the father PETA website.
Well, it's a division at PETA, as you mentioned, and we really, what we do is take the information from PETA campaigns on which we urge people to think about certain issues, and we turn it into educational content. So teachers can provide accurate information and foster critical thinking about societal issues in students.
And I think that's the important piece right there, the aspect of creating critical thinkers among our students. Because one of the things that we tend to forget is the purpose of education is to develop critical thinkers, not necessarily to develop automatons. And I think that's where the educational system was, the direction it was heading in, as far as just creating people who would be test takers, and they would just go out and take a test and go on into this particular profession. Now we want them to become critical thinkers, because we need to prepare these students for jobs that don't even exist yet, as opposed to preparing for jobs that no longer exist. And I think by helping them to develop that the empathetic side of their brain will allow them to become more thinkers as well. So I think the Teachkind, it sounds like it's a really excellent program to bring into our schools.
Yes, absolutely. No, I was just going to say that it's actually, so what we try to do, and I think we do a pretty good job, is for younger kids, we try to help, we focus on helping them understand that animals are individuals with families and friends, and the similarities between us all, and what animals' needs are. It's really not necessary to show, or age appropriate, to show graphic images of what's happening to animals to young kids. But if you build that foundation, that foundational knowledge, then children will understand when they get older and they're exposed to those kinds of images. So if they see hens in battery cages, they'll know that that's cruel, because they'll understand that hens need to be with their families and they need to dust bathe. If they see dogs chained up 24/7, if they have a foundational knowledge, they'll understand that that's cruel, because dogs are social animals and they don't want to be tied up and alone all day. So that's where we can start. And it's actually, this kind of instruction is actually mandated in New York State. There's an education law, Article 17, Section 809, that actually requires elementary schools to provide instruction in the humane treatment and protection of animals. It's a decades-old law. I find that many educators have never heard of it, so that's that's always been one of my main things, is to help educators understand that this is required and that it's important. And then for older kids, middle school and up, we offer thought-provoking content that can really engage them. Young people at this age enjoy discussing real-world issues like animal experimentation and animal agriculture's impact on climate change. And these topics don't normally get covered in school. But so many teens contact us looking for information about these issues so that they can incorporate them into persuasive writing units and other projects they're already working on in the classroom. We've even had teachers contact us on behalf of their students looking for information to help them investigate these issues that they have that interest in. So educators need to recognize that there's a lot of interest from students on these topics and use that to engage them.
You are listening to Instruction Discussion on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Kevin Boston Hill, and our guest today is Program Manager of PETA's Teachkind program, Lisbet Chiriboga. Let me go back for a second, because you really articulated what I was really fumbling and trying to point out earlier on, as far as the age appropriateness of the materials. And because I think it's important for our listeners to understand that the students, especially younger students, are not going to be exposed through this program to those graphic images that we've come to know PETA for and so forth. That there's going to be more age-appropriate learning about communities and about individualism and about how families develop. So, but from an animal perspective. So I think that's the important part to really point out for our families and teachers to understand, that their children aren't going to be exposed to things that they probably shouldn't be seeing at such a young age.
Yes, and I'd love to just talk about one of my favorite resources that we offer. It's our Rescue Stories comprehension worksheets. This is a great activity for all grade levels, from K to 12, and we've created student text for different grade levels based on different reading abilities, and also based on true stories about some of the many animals PETA has rescued. So like a puppy named Christmas who was rescued from a remote island in the Philippines where he was found covered with lice and infected open wounds. Another is Mayflower, the turkey rescued from slaughter right before Thanksgiving. That one's for the older kids. Mm-hmm. And parents can have their children work on studying key vocabulary words and responding to questions that encourage literal and inferential thinking. So the academic skills can develop while students develop greater empathy and compassion too. As a teacher, I've always found that talking about real-life rescues really engages young people and allows them to start learning about what really happens to animals in a gentle, age-appropriate way. Because it's important for students to know why animals have to be rescued in the first place. And the rescue stories we share all have happy endings. So they're uplifting and empowering for children.
Right. And there's also the opportunity for further connections when we're talking about rescuing animals and saving animals and caring for animals, because now you can even take that into a broader conversation about saving our planet and what that means to be one with the planet and to we start thinking about the climate change and the pollutions of our waters and so forth. That's part of helping animals to survive and saving animals as well. So I think there's that connection, that more interdisciplinary connection that develops out of this program as well.
Yes, so when children learn kindness to animals, they take a key step toward rejecting all forms of violence and bullying and really looking at their world and seeing their place in it and how they should be interacting with others and the planet. So again, how I was a teacher in the Bronx, as I mentioned, and throughout my teaching career, I've seen how incorporating compassion for animals into the curriculum can foster pro-social behavior in students. I've had apathetic students with difficult behavioral issues become the fiercest protectors of animals, which then led to more empathy for their peers. For example, I had a kindergarten student who had a really tough home life. His father had been incarcerated. His mother was away a lot. So he took his frustrations out on the other kids. But his natural love for animals shined through his tough exterior. Once he had the whole class watching and protecting an army of ants at a school picnic. And he even did the same thing for the pigeons on the playground at recess. Now, I would need to remind him pretty regularly that his compassion for animals can carry over to having compassion for his peers. And even at that young age, he started to get it. There were times when I saw him really think about my reminders and go a completely different route with his behavior.
That's remarkable. That's wonderful. And like I said, I think there are other aspects that can be looked at as well, because in having been a teacher in the Bronx myself and an administrator, working with, and especially if we start thinking about working with special needs children and how, and using their empathetic side to really help to focus them. So by bringing in animals, and we do this all the time with, as far as with cancer patients and so forth, when we bring in animals for them as therapy, like therapy dogs and so forth. So why not take it to that next level and bring the learning and the education in schools, again, to help to focus children, not just from an academic perspective, because we know how important that is, but also from that social emotional perspective. So it helps all children to be able to kind of focus on what it is that we really want them. And as you pointed out in your example, it makes the connection from what we do comfortably, naturally, to something that we may not have originally thought of as being an idea that we can also explore.
Sure, absolutely. And as you mentioned regarding social and emotional learning, Teachkind, we have on our website, we have a blog feature explaining how using humane education resources can help foster the competencies that we want to promote in social and emotional learning, such as self-awareness, like recognizing your feelings. We have resources that help children identify their emotions while they're reading certain literature about animals as well, certain stories. Social awareness and relationship skills can all be addressed. Responsible decision making. Those competencies can all be addressed with humane education materials. So I definitely encourage your listeners to check out our website. Going back to the academic part, though, because it's also the story I have is tied between academics and social and emotional learning. So because I've seen firsthand how humane education can help motivate students academically. I've had reluctant readers who were, again, frustrated and learning about the plight of animals, that dogs live chained up. This can help them to boost and motivate them to develop their reading skills. Because we know that if they don't, they'll fall further behind if they don't practice reading. So in many cases, I've seen reading and writing levels improve in large part as a result of their motivation to help animals. And we have materials to help you motivate children in this way on our website at teachkind.org.
And let me ask you a little bit more, get into the website a little bit. I know you said the materials are all free, totally free, so there's no subscription costs or anything that people have to sign up for or anything like that. But
absolutely.
But is there some type of subscription, like an email subscription, so that they can get lessons sent to them on a regular basis type of thing, or like a newsletter that they can subscribe to, that they can be updated on any further information that has been posted to the website without them having to check back and forth each day?
Oh, absolutely. You could sign up right on our homepage at teachkind.org. You'll see on the right-hand side, Teachkind e-news sign up. So we send 1 or 2 emails a month that give you a whole bunch of lessons and activities, our new content, so you can stay up to date with what the new content that we add to the website, any promotions, or sometimes we have contests. We have a contest going on right now on our Teachkind Instagram page, where you can all you have to do is just sign up for the contest, and you could receive our new Teachkind mug and a few other goodies. So we have plenty of things like that.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So let me ask you this. What other type of resources, or what do the resources actually look like? Are they just scripted worksheets? Are there videos? Are there links to other materials? So what are some of the types of resources that people can expect when they go to teachkind.org? Yes,
all of the above, actually. So I'll give you another example. Because we have such a variety. We have, for the youngest learners, like pre-K to 2, we have a lesson called Sheldon Hears a Squeak that tells the story of a compassionate boy named Sheldon who speaks up for all sentient beings, in this case, a mouse. And it includes a script for reader's theater and directions for how to make a shadow theater with puppets at home with easy-to-find materials. So it's a fun and engaging project for young learners that can help them develop reading skills, language fluency, and empathy all at the same time. Then we also have our wildly popular animal-friendly idioms, which can inspire children to replace harmful animal phrases like kill 2 birds with 1 stone and more than one way to skin a cat, with compassionate ones like feed 2 birds with 1 scone and more than one way to peel a potato. So parents and children can view these idioms, and we have posters that you can download for a classroom or a home classroom to discuss the importance of choosing language that is inclusive and respectful of everyone, no matter their species.
Now, it's amazing that you bring up the idioms, because, that's just become so part of our everyday language. You wouldn't even, they almost become throwaway lines that you don't even really think about it. Like a new way to skin it, more than one way to skin a cat, or kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like, you don't even really think about what we're saying, but it's true. If you're able to change the perception, you change the language, then it changes the way people actually address those particular issues. I mean, we're doing the same thing as far as the microaggressions when we talk about our people and people of color. So why not go back and change some of those idioms that have, I guess, falsely impacted our animal culture as well?
Sure. Yes, since the language we use directly influences how we think and act, many of Teachkind's materials highlight that importance of choosing words that are inclusive, respectful of everyone, no matter what species. Another example would be our lesson on nouns, which teaches students that animals don't belong in the thing category that includes inanimate objects.
And, again, those are things that we don't readily think about as far as how we educate and how we learn things, but that's important to think about now. So it gives us an added layer of things that we need to really consider when we start thinking about how we associate ourselves and how we relate to the world around us. So I think Teachkind should definitely be everywhere. Are there any particular schools that you have partnered with specifically, or is it just something that schools kind of reach out to you about when they need to support?
Well, both. We have schools that reach out to us. We've been working with schools in New York, in Florida, Connecticut, California. We've even worked in rural parts of Mississippi because schools are looking for materials and ways to help foster more compassion in children. There's growing research to show that humane education fosters more empathic behavior in children and motivates them academically. Teachkind materials were even used in a study that will be published soon, showing that using humane education materials benefits students academically.
Great. And I think it's wonderful. So, of course, if any of our listeners or even our schools wanted to get in touch with you to get some of more of the resources, or even for PDs, they can just go to the website teachkind.org and they can get all the information they need?
Absolutely. All our free learning resources are available at teachkind.org. You can also contact us for more guidance or teacher training, and you can find even more ways to help animals at PETA.org.
So if you had one thing to leave our audience with, one final thought regarding Teachkind and all the work that you do in this area, what would that be?
Our materials are a win for students who will learn to care even more about animals, a win for parents who are looking for meaningful educational activities for their children, and a win for the animals who will benefit from smarter, more caring humans.
That sums it up perfectly. So we'd like to thank our guest today, Program Manager of PETA's Teachkind program, Lisbet Chiriboga. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, my name is Kevin Boston Hill, and thank you for listening to Instruction Discussion right here on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.